V and N. That is such a unique duo in Murder Drones, but also would have a unique ship if it wasn't for Uzi being there and causing the Newsy ship, aka the most perfect ship in the world, to happen. And as one of my commenters said about V, N loved her too early, she loved N too late. And I find this to be very much the story between V and N. Hello everyone, welcome back to Panzerverse, and on today's video we're going to be discussing the ship between V and N. Now, to make this clear very early on, I'm going to be discussing evidence for the ship, and I'm also going to give my general thoughts on it towards the end. So let's start where it starts in the beginning. Instead of going to episode 1, we have to go to episode 5, aka the Gala flashbacks. Technically, we could go to episode 2, which actually, thinking about it, we could head to episode 2 instead. In episode 2, we clearly see that N knocks over V, and both of them, V drops all her books and everything. And this is where we get the starting of, the seeds of this ship. And this is where I think N truly fell in love with V. And I think V also did. But with the events of the Gala and knowing what happened, I think those feelings were inevitably crushed later. But moving on to the pilot episode. In the pilot episode, we see when N's talking with Uzi about V, he says, "Oh yeah, don't let V know, but I definitely have a crush on her." And N, being the little goober he is, that is probably 100% true. Early on, N dearly cared about V. He cared about V so much. When Uzi was escaping with the railgun, he literally hunted her down, went for the bunker, and nearly killed her because he literally said, and I'm going to quote the line he said, "I am not going to let you use that to hurt V." God, I love N so much. But that's where we see it. N truly cared about V in the beginning, and we see that also in episode 1 and later on, when he doesn't really want to fight V. He's more willing to fight J, but he's not as willing to fight V, and he's literally trying to not hurt V. He literally does the licking thing towards the end to not harm V. And has to and they basically take V as a hostage instead of, straight up killing her with the railgun. Episode 2, we see N conflicted. He's conflicted in the way because he still likes V, but he doesn't trust V 100%. And to this point, we haven't really seen V really have feelings towards N except, like I said in the beginning of episode 2, with flashbacks. And I genuinely think V did care about N, but I don't think she cared about N romantically yet. But we go through episode 2, and then in the end, N really only has V, and we kind of see V be a bit sad. Probably for N. But moving on, let's go to episode 3. Episode 3, I think for N, him liking V completely breaks. When V cuts off her head and tries to go in and murder everyone in the prom. And I think that causes a shift within him, where he's no longer infatuated with V, but instead moves to Uzi. But on the other hand, this is where V starts to, well, she doesn't start in episode 3, she starts in episode 4, starts shifting towards N. Now I'm going to make another video covering V and Lizzie in the future, but if we look at it, V cared about N when she was trying to hunt down Uzi. Now that could just simply be for survival purposes, or it could be that she genuinely feels threatened that Uzi was going to take N away from her, as some teenage drama. But besides that, we also saw that, N cared more about Uzi, and V started caring more about N. And episode 5 is where it goes even more. During the memories, V when Sin is trying to use V to operate on N, V gets these emotions. And you could simply say maybe it's like a sibling type emotion thing, like she doesn't want to hurt N. But the way it looked and the way it seemed felt romantic in a way. Maybe that's a me thing. It could be a me thing. It could not be a me thing. But it felt very romantic, and it felt like she didn't want to hurt him because she loved him. And that's where we really go. And then episode 6, she does sacrifice herself for N and Uzi. She maybe might have sacrificed herself just for N, but she sacrificed herself for both. I'm lying if I say that she didn't sacrifice herself just for N. But moving on, episode 8 is the last real piece of evidence we can really get. And that's when she's running and searching for N. But that couldn't just be she's sorry to N for all the hurt that she caused in the past. So as we know, based on the evidence, N loved V in the beginning of the series. But when V did not reciprocate it by episode 3, it caused him to shift towards Uzi. And V started shifting towards N at that time. So my general thoughts on this ship. I believe this ship is very much, it has the evidence to work. And it feels like it should work. The issue is this, and this is my personal opinion, I think Newsy was a far better story. Do I think V and N could have been an amazing duo? Yes, they could have been an amazing couple. And if I had to rate it, I would say they are the second best ship in all of Murder Drones. Has to simply be V and N. And part of me wishes, hey, if they ever... I understand why parts of the community, love that ship a lot. And if I were part of the community, I'd be like, hey, everyone can respect their own opinions, but I love Newsy slightly more than V and N. But hey, that's just my thoughts. But yeah, this is meant to be a very short video, nothing too long. I hope you all enjoy the video. We're going to play our little outro thing. Serial designation N has some kind words to tell you all. But before he does kind words, go check out my Newsy video, and go check out the rest of my videos, and please subscribe, because it helps out the channel. And N has some words about how he wants to get a girlfriend, so let's have N say some kind words, and then I'll just continue with the outro. Well, you all heard from the man himself. He wants a damn girlfriend, so you better subscribe to help get him a girlfriend. Well, I hope to see you all later, and hope to see you all back on Pantherverse soon.